Today we are going to talk on how to become an effective listener. We all know how to speak effectively. We also know how to communicate effectively. But in communication, there are two things that are involved: speaking and listening. Then only the message will be exchanged between two people. There are certain barriers due to which we are not able to become an effective listener. And due to this only, we are not able to grab exactly what the speaker or what the teacher is trying to tell. Often in a class of 30 students, few students grasp whatever the teacher is teaching, and most of the students miss out many things. They don't understand anything. There are even students that they are just blank after 1 hour of lecture. They are not able to recall whatever they have heard. Now there is a difference between hearing and listening, and we are going to talk about what all are the barriers to effective listening. Now these barriers are so important that if you identify these barriers and just try to prevent these barriers while communicating with someone or while listening to someone, you may get more richer experiences of your life. Let's start. The first barrier to effective listening is listening to your own thoughts. It may happen sometime that while listening, something comes in your mind. Along with the listening, you start giving response inside your own mind and start preparing that after the speaker will complete this speaking, I will respond by asking this question or by replying by this idea. This is called listening to more than one voices at a time. Along with the speaker, you are also listening to your own thoughts. Your thoughts are going on inside your mind and you are aware of it. And now this may happen because you are not completely focused just on listening, but also for responding. There may be other factors like there are background noises, there are other sounds that you can hear besides you, somebody else is making some noise. This causes distractions, and listening to more than one voice at a time is not possible. You may miss out what exactly the speaker is trying to tell if your attention is diverted towards some other noise that's going on in the background. If your telephone is ringing, if somebody in the background is talking to someone else, if dog is barking in the background, or if some music is going on somewhere else in the next room. You may also be able to hear those sounds along with the main speaker's words. Then you will surely miss out the exact meaning of what the speaker is trying to tell. Take an example of a mirror. When you look in the mirror, there are two options that you have, two choices. Either you look at yourself or you look at all those things except yourself. When you focus on looking at the background of yourself in the mirror, you will miss out your own face. And when you focus only on your face, you will miss out all the backgrounds that is being reflected in the mirror. The same thing happens while listening to a person, and along with that when you listen to the other sounds or other noise in the background. The second barrier to effective listening is finding the communicator attractive. If you find the person attractive, your focus is diverted in that attraction. You start noticing the person's hairstyle or the person's face or the person's dress, and you miss out what he or she is actually trying to tell you, trying to speak to you. You miss out the message, and that's why the communication is ineffective. Attraction is not always physical. You may also get driven by what the speaker is telling and you relate with it emotionally. And in your emotions, you go in some another world. You start thinking about something else related to that, and by that time the speaker goes ahead and he gives some another message which you may miss out to listen. So finding the communicator attractive in any way is also a barrier to effective listening. Next barrier is finding the communicator unattractive. If you find that the person who is speaking is unattractive, you will not be able to focus on what he is trying to tell. You may create a block inside your mind that I don't want to listen to what this person is trying to tell. You may don't find it so attractive or effective so that you could focus on. It may also happen sometimes when we come across some people who have a bad foul smell in their mouth. We are so disgusted by that smell that we hardly could hear what that person is trying to tell or listen to what he is speaking. We just try to avoid paying any attention to any message coming from that person because we are overwhelmed with that foul smell coming from that person's mouth. Similarly, if you find anything that according to you should not be in that person's dress or that person's body, you find his hairstyle unattractive, you find it's not acceptable, then you will also miss out the message given by that speaker through communication, through speaking. You will not listen effectively. When you accept your own imperfections, then only you can accept other person's imperfections. It's a saying that's very true, and when you want to listen to any person, you have to just focus on listening rather than finding the perfections or imperfections in that person. Obviously, we all try to give the best that we have, and nobody can be a perfect communicator, a perfect listener, or a perfect speaker. But here in this video, we are discussing the barriers that if we could prevent, then our listening skills may improve and our experiences of life may become richer. The next barrier to listening is I am right attitude. Now, this attitude many people have due to the beliefs that they have developed over time. Now, what are beliefs? Beliefs are certain thoughts that we stick to, that are concluded due to our life experiences at some or the other stages in our life, either through childhood or through other experiences when we grow up while development. Now, when these beliefs are being opposed, or when you find the communicator saying something opposite of your own belief, then you will stuck on the idea that I am right. This I am right attitude often proves to be a hurdle in getting to understand what the other person is trying to tell. Certain people just don't listen to people because they are being opposed, or they feel that their idea of being right is being opposed by the other person. They fail to understand the other angles of viewing a thing or what the opinion of other person is. Now, listening and understanding doesn't mean that you accept their opinion. It's just a way of communication so that you develop a understanding between what that person is trying to convey you. You may also convey your own message, but that doesn't require you to create a block in listening. Next barrier is over-identifying with an idea. Sometimes it may happen that whatever content right now I am delivering to you regarding the listening skills, you have previously come across some content about listening, and right now if my opinion or my content is little bit different than whatever you have heard before, then you will have a notion in your mind that that was an idea that I heard before. Actually, whatever you are telling is not exactly what should be. You try to compare things. You develop some idea about your past experiences, and by your past experiences, you compare the present communication that's going on between you and the other person. This comparison between two ideas will create a block or will act as a barrier in effective listening. If some person has told you that pain in the knee means that you should consult a doctor because you require a knee replacement, then whatever related to the knee replacement or regarding the knee pain that you're having, you will hear or you will come across you will not be able to accept it. You will just compare it with the previous idea that you have concluded about this thing, that you have heard or listened from some previous person. The next barrier to listening is sympathizing with the speaker. Now, there is a difference between sympathy and empathy. If some person comes and tell you that I had these problems, I had a big pain in my back, it's so painful, and you say that, oh my god, it's so bad, really, it's so bad. You are actually sympathizing, and sympathizing is giving a negative energy, feeding something that's not required. That person may be needing sympathy, but it will not do any good to that person or to you. And empathy instead will make you and that person understand each other. You will try to understand what that person is going through, and that person will also feel like to open up more, because when he feels that I am being understood, he will share his or her experiences in a more deeper way, in a more detailed way. Next barrier to effective listening is prejudices and preferences. Suppose you are going to listen to a world famous trainer and you are well prepared for it, and on the previous day only you have some imagination in your mind regarding how that speaker might be, or what the speaker might tell you, or what will be the way of delivering the training by the trainer, because he is so world famous. And you go tomorrow, the next day, to listen to that trainer, and whatever prejudices you had turns out to be something else. They don't turn out exactly the way you had. Then you get disappointed. Now, these disappointments are a barrier to effective listening, because you in your mind just wait for the prejudices that you had to come true, and then when it doesn't come true, you miss out exactly what the trainer is trying to deliver. Our preferences or our prejudices often creates a deletion or barriers in our mind from getting in or getting the input in our mind from the other person. The other person is just giving his output in a way he could, but your filtration process in your mind due to your own prejudices will prevent you from effectively listening to whatever he tries to tell you. The next barrier is selective hearing due to expectations. Suppose you are going to attend a parent-teachers meeting for your child's school, and you expect that the teacher might tell something good things about your child. And what happens? The teacher tells all the criticisms, all the bad habits that your child needs to change. In your mind, due to your expectations, you just amplify whatever you hear. The teacher might have given you a criticism that's constructive, that's for the betterment of your child in a very decent tone. But in your mind, you hear it as a big criticism, as a big complaint, and you feel so overwhelmed by it that you just burst out on your child. You just get out of control and can't be able to handle the situation, can't be able to handle yourself. Often situations are out of our control because of our own expectations. When these expectations are not met, we get disappointed, we get sad, we are not able to handle our behaviors. Now that's a different part, but the main thing is you are not actually listening to whatever the tone of that speaker is, whatever he's trying to convey, what his intentions are. Often the intention of the speaker is being misinterpreted by your own expectations and prejudices. So all these things should be kept aside when you are listening to any person, and just get the message straight in a way that person is trying to give you. The next barrier is background distractions. Now it's quite similar to the first distraction that we discussed, that is listening to your own voice along with listening to the speaker, that or listening to more than one sound, listening to the background sounds. The difference here is background distractions may also include the other forms of disturbances, like if your phone is on silent mode but is on vibrate mode. It may vibrate in your pocket and your focus may go that something is vibrating in my pocket. You start thinking about whose call it may be. While whenever your focus is diverted or distracted to something else other than the speaker, then the speaker comes to know somehow through your submodalities, and he just cut it in short, whatever he is trying to tell you. He just prevents saying in detail or explaining more effectively when the listener is not effectively listening. The background distractions also may include the weather, the atmosphere, the temperature, the uneasiness of the chair, your posture. So in order to be an effective listener, this barrier should be prevented, and there are also ways of how to be an effective listener that we'll discuss in the next video. The next distraction is overthinking. When a person is overthinking a simple communication, he may make it complicated. When the speaker is saying just in one line, the curtains are of blue color, due to overthinking, you may go deep inside these words. Shouldn't the curtain be blue? Are these curtains looking bad? Why that speaker pointed out the curtains and its color? Is he relating the blue color with something else? Of course, if you have some confusion, you could ask. But just overthinking on a simple message given by the speaker will make the entire communication complicated. You may subconsciously respond in an unexpected way that could just take the communication in a different direction. So overthinking and misinterpreting and making the words more complicated inside your mind is also a barrier to effective listening. Get the message straight, whatever you are hearing, and that only should be whatever you are listening. The next and the last barrier to effective listening is trying to memorize. When a person is giving you some information, you may by default memorize it even if you don't try to. When a person is telling you that yesterday at 5 a.m. I woke up and we went to a picnic by train, and that train was having an ABC name, and in those train there were these many people around us and we stopped at these many stations. If you try to memorize each and every detail regarding that, what time that person woke up, okay, 5 a.m. exactly, how many stations the train stopped, where they went, by what vehicle they went, exactly whatever the communicator is trying to tell, you may miss out. Effective listening is not memorizing the things that you hear. Some people just note down each and every word whatever they listen. But if you listen effectively, by default, the important things you'll not miss out, and you'll get a message, and when you want to apply it to your own self, you will be able to. And this is the main intention of effective listening, that you apply to yourself whatever you listen and not just memorizing. Some people just memorize it and they could never be able to apply those information to themselves. If you want to give some exam where you need to answer the question, then it's fine. But after the exam is over, your mind will again become blank regarding that topic, because you have just memorized it for a particular purpose, and when that purpose is over, that content that you have taken in your mind will no longer be available whenever you need it. So here were some barriers to become an effective listener. I hope you like this video. Thank you. Have a good day.